Tony Williams does a great job covering the NBA, covering the New York Knicks, as well as the Jets as well for the NFL, beat writer for the Metro. Kind enough to join us for a couple moments. How you doing, Tony?
I'm great. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Good to talk with you. Appreciate a couple moments. All right, let's get to the latest here with Porzingis. How much validity do you think when you talk about Phil Jackson's willingness to trade Porzingis? I mean, are the Knicks really serious about this? And if so, what would they have to get back in return to make this possible?
Well, to answer the question about being serious, yeah, they're serious about listening. I'm not sure if they'll ever take any offers seriously because it's going to be a lot. I think the bounty is at least 2 number 1 picks and a good player in return. If not that, then at least 3 number 1 picks. So the price tag is very high for Porzingis, and I'm sure it's because he's a great budding player and only 21 years old. But as far as the offers coming in, what I've been told, they aren't that great. I've heard Bledsoe from the Suns and the Suns' 5th pick. That's not going to do it for the Knicks. So I know the Knicks wanted Booker in return, and the Suns said absolutely not. So that deal is probably dead. But as far as being serious, Phil is serious to listen to offers, but I don't think he'll move him.
All right, let's get the ludicrous out of the way. Is there any shot that the Philadelphia 76ers come into play tonight with the top pick, even though we know it's going to be Fultz? Any way that the Sixers and the Knicks make a trade?
No. Right. I think Philadelphia moved mountains to get Fultz, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think Philly is set on that with Fultz and Simmons and Embiid. That is pretty impressive trio, going forward. So I don't see that top pick being moved at all.
Like I said, that's why we had to get the foolishness out of the way. When you look at, I'm just curious, going back to Knicks for a moment, when you look at Phil Jackson, listen, I think it's a disgrace what's going on. I really do. I think it takes a lot of burden off Dolan because now Jackson's the guy that gets ripped. But when you start to treat your players like that, and again, purely speculation, you want to trade a player because he blew off an exit interview. Hey, Phil, memo to you. Shaquille O'Neal did this to you when we did the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know. I look at this franchise right now, and I don't know why they would even consider trading this player for his size, his athleticism. I think he's a budding superstar. I think the worst thing that happened to him, and look, I get it. You shouldn't blow off the interview because you really haven't done anything in the NBA. Forget about his stats. But I look at what's stunning his growth, and you have a player in Melo, and then you have a player in Derrick Rose, guys that are just basically out to get theirs. I think that's hurt this kid's growth. So if they sit with him and they don't move him, and you look at the Knicks, where they are with their draft pick, I mean, what would be the best case scenario for the Knicks tonight at number 8?
The best case scenario is if somehow De'Aaron Fox falls to at 8. That's probably unlikely. I hear the Kings are in play for him. So I think the best case scenario is have Fox go to them and Melo be kind of say, you know what, I want out of here too, or release me. I will waive my no trade clause. No, I want out of here. So I think if Melo came to Phil tonight and say, you know what, I want out, let's do a deal, that's probably the best case scenario. And as far as prospect, definitely Fox is the highest pick on their board available.
If they don't trade Melo, do you think Melo will try to force a buyout?
No, that's not happening. I don't think. I think what Melo wants is to win his way, and I think he would only go join a friend of his. Like Paul. If Paul resigns in L.A. or if LeBron stays long term, which I don't think he will. I think that's the only way that in the Melo asks for a buyout. It's tough. It's tricky because, like I said, I don't think LeBron is staying there for Cleveland in the past this upcoming season.
Right.
So so then where Melo go then?
Right.
Does he follow elsewhere? So I don't know what Melo has options out there anymore. I think he overplayed his hands. I really thought that he was taking the deal with the Bulls earlier. That was reported earlier in the year. So to me, he really has not an option. I think he's now in it for long term with the Knicks, unfortunately.
Tony, I'm curious. Who did you have as your top rated prospect coming out of the draft? Was it Monk? Was it Fox? Was it Ball? Was it Fultz? Was it Tatum? I'm just curious. Who did you have?
I have kind of a two thing here. I think overall talent and just have the panache to run a team. I love Ball. I know his dad's kind of a loose cannon, but his dad would not factor in any businesses, as far as his son's business on the floor. I love Ball. I see Ball as a Jason Kidd type.
Yep.
But intriguing talent, Tatum from Duke. That kid is he's like not Durant-wise as far as shooting, but the overall his radius, his range, and his potential defensively is astounding to me. I like the kid a lot, so I would say Ball than Tatum.
And last one, NBA-wise, and then I just want to get your quick points on the NFL with the Jets for a moment. Fultz, in our backyard, pretty much foregone conclusion that the Sixers are going to draft this kid, just 19 years of age. Everyone knows the track record in college, and with the comparison when they say, well, you look at a guy like Ball who led UCLA from 15 to 31 wins. Simmons really didn't do anything with LSU, and then you have Fultz with Washington with a handful of wins. What I was told last night is the question marks surrounding this kid are his competitive drive in the motor. But that being said, I do think even if you're a high-level scorer and you look at the numbers for Washington defensively, they gave up a ton of points. They allowed a lot of three-point balls to go in. I think, sometimes your so-called best player has to take some ownership in that. And I still think he's going to be a player, and hopefully he's a good fit with the Sixers. What's your scouting report? What's your overall assessment on Markelle Fultz?
Well, I think that he's a marvelous playmaker, a marvelous scorer. But the whole thing about red flags about him coming to Washington and it didn't win, there really wasn't a lot of talent around him. Because a lot of kids left Washington that were pretty good. So I think the mark of him saying that he didn't have the drive, I don't buy that.
Okay.
They said the same thing about Kevin Durant actually coming out of Texas. That he's kind of laid back. He didn't have that kind of drive. And you know what? Kevin Durant is a killer in the NBA. So I'm not putting any stock in that. I think the kid's a marvelous talent. And when you play with someone as unselfish as a Ben Simmons and someone who's a budding superstar as Joel Embiid, I think it's going to be a great fit for him. He'll love playing in Philly. I think Philly loves him already. And I like the kid. I'm not as down on him as other scouts are about his drive.
Last one before I let you get out of here. Good stuff. I appreciate a couple moments. Let's go with the Jets in the NFL. It's only fitting that – see, I thought the Giants should have picked up Harris and at least made a move for him, but it's only fitting that, Bill Belichick a couple years ago gave a scouting report on this guy, basically saying he's my kind of guy, and then what happens, right? The Jets release him. The Patriots swoop in because that's what the Patriots do. I hate to use the word tank because it is synonymous in basketball, especially what the Sixers have done. I think it's hard to do in the NFL. But, wow, if you're a Jet fan, what are you looking forward to this season? Just getting through the season. I mean, they've got nothing to hang their hat on. They got rid of so many players.
You're not looking forward to anything if you're a Jets fan. That franchise just runs around in circles itself and chases its own tail. I think the best case scenario for them is that they stink all year and they go for Sam Darnold or they try to go for his draft rights. But the thing is, people don't understand is Sam Darnold he is draft eligible, but he can always return to USC. The thing I relate to this before, so all my friends who are Jets fans, and they don't understand this, that the Jets did this once before, where Peyton Manning was in Tennessee as a junior, and the Jets had the top pick. And Peyton was like, you know what? I'd rather stay in Tennessee for another year as a senior than come to New York and play for the Jets. This could happen against the Jets, and it would be so Jets of them to happen this way, where they tank and they go all out for Sam Darnold. And he said, you know what? I'm staying in school. So there really isn't much to look forward to for Jets fans this year. And the dagger was just twisted even deeper when David Harris goes to the Patriots because, like you said, he is the perfect fit for Patriot. And it's just going to be a long, dreadful year for the Jets.
And it's almost another wash with Todd Bowles, right? Because if Jet fans wanted him fired, well, if you know you're going in there with no players whatsoever, he gets another free pass. You can't fire him going into with that roster.
Oh, the Jets can certainly fire him because it's the Jets. But I think that it is so unfair, though, that they'll do it to him if they can him after openly tanking, and they say, you know what, we're going to tank, get a high draft pick, and say, what, I'm cutting ties with you. That is totally unfair, but so Jets of them.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we laugh at what Cleveland was doing for years in Jacksonville, and now you look at the Jets, it's the same thing. Getting rid of all these players, they're moving on. Guys that still, they believe, other teams believe they can play at a high level, and it's going to be a mess up there. Good stuff on the NBA draft, good stuff on the Knicks. I appreciate a couple moments. We'll kind of recap everything. We'll get you back on next week, but I do enjoy a couple minutes with you today. Thanks, pal.
No problem. Anytime.
All right, you got it, Tony. Be well. Good stuff.